All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about in this forecast. We got two big storms that are coming. A big one that's coming up to the mid-Atlantic or the Northeast. Still not exactly sure, how much snow is going to fall on that, but we're going to go over the best amount of information that we can during this forecast. Also, we got an even bigger storm coming in on the backside of this that is not only going to bring a major snowstorm potential, but also is going to bring a severe weather potential as well along the coast. So we're going to be covering that as well. And we're going to be going over, what's going to be happening here in the short term as well. So let's go ahead and start this off with a look at the entire country and what we can expect over the next 5 days and a little bit further out from that. As you see, we still have this storm here that is bringing up some rain and showers. Mainly is going to be the main issue. Not really expecting too much severe weather out of this. And that's going to move on to the east. Maybe bring some snowflakes there on the northern side. But I'll tell you what, in between the models and the NAM and the GFS, it's been going back and forth on whether or not this is going to end up being a snowmaker at all. I mean, there's been some indications that we might get some flakes over here in Alabama, maybe over there in northern Georgia, but it keeps going, saying, oh, there's going to be some snowflakes, and there's not going to be some snowflakes. So, but essentially, if you get some really on the northern side of Alabama going into northern Georgia, then you get lucky. But other than that, not seeing a whole lot of potential there for snow, mainly just some rain, showers, and some accumulation there of some rain as well. Also, we do have this next storm that's going to be coming in. This is going to be a little bit of a shot of snow there initially as that moves into Oklahoma and to Kansas. This is our first big storm here. You can see there's might be a little bit of a severe potential here along the coast, but it's going to be marginal at best. But we'll continue to watch it as the sheer environment will actually be in place for this one to potentially cause some spin ups there along the coast. And then pushing this forward, you can see going into Saturday morning here, we do have some snow on the northern side of this as this starts to pick up. And this is eventually going to try to drop a significant amount of snow here from, Indiana going into Ohio, going up into Pennsylvania, West Virginia, also there for New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then also spreading into Massachusetts as we get into Saturday night here, and then into Sunday morning. So as you can see, since the last time I looked at this storm, not a whole lot has changed. I will say with a decent little caveat here that it has been shifting to the south a lot more, and then just recently it shifted back up to the north. So there's still a lot of disagreement on one, how much snow is going to fall out of this, and also where the exact track of the storm is going to go. But we are going to be monitoring it and the trend changes, and continue to give you guys daily updates here on what has changed with this. But as you can see, as of right now, the it's looking pretty similar to the last time that we looked. So keep that in mind as we move over here. But one thing that we are going to do, I guess we'll do one more thing. After this storm moves through the northeast here and drops a decent amount of snow for some folks, you can see we get another storm that forms, and this is going to be next week at around the Tuesday region. Typically, we can't really see this far out with any accuracy, but because this storm is going to be so compact and so dynamic, we can infer some things like the severe weather threat on the southern side. But in terms of the snow with this storm, I would definitely take everything that I say about it with a grain of salt here. But yeah, I mean, the severe potential really starts off over here in Texas going into Monday evening here, and then pushing this off to the east a little bit more as we get into overnight Monday. You can see some snow starts to pick up there, and the northern portion on the southern side, it's kind of a mess down there, kind of a convective mess. And then as we get into Tuesday morning going into Tuesday evening, you can see that heavier rain moves off to the east, and then we start to see some big snow on the northern side there for Illinois, going into Indiana and Michigan there, and then also some snow starting to pick up over there near Pennsylvania, New York, going up into the northeast, and then that moves all the way off to the east. So we'll be talking about all of these storm systems as we go over in this forecast. First one we're going to be looking at, though, is this one down in the southeast, going into today, going into tomorrow. As you can see, this is for Tuesday evening today. Going to get some scattered showers, maybe some thunderstorms out of that as that moves into the Austin and then Houston area as we go into Wednesday morning here. Then right along the coast is where we're going to see the strongest storms out of this. Everybody else north of the coast can expect some rain showers, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunders, but you might get some stronger storms move onto the coast here, going into Louisiana as we move throughout Wednesday, and then pushing this all the way into the southeast. Going into Wednesday evening here, you can see that that rain and showers continues with maybe some isolated thunderstorms with some stronger potential, probably still under that severe limit, but you might get one severe limit or severe warned storm out of this. Not expecting any tornadoes out of this storm, but we're going to monitor it, and then that kind of moves off to the east. There, coming over to the estimated precipitation totals with this, you can see it's going to bring kind of a widespread half of an inch of rain all the way from Texas down into Louisiana, going into Florida, and the NAM's a little bit more bullish in some spots, maybe getting up into 2 inches of rain there just to the north of Houston, going into the flat-footed boot part of Louisiana there, and then coming into southern Alabama, maybe an inch of rain there. But overall, not a very impactful event with that storm. And then moving off to the east northeast here, that storm moves off to the east, maybe bringing some snow flurries up in the northern part here, maybe some higher amounts in higher elevations there. But pushing this through, the next big thing that we're going to be looking at here is going to be this low pressure system that's going to be pushing up into Kentucky, going up into Indiana and Ohio, potentially bringing some big snowfall there. But the thing is, again, the models are still going to shift around. We're still outside of that region of where we can get really accurate snowfall totals. Even though we're going to be going over them today, it's just going to be kind of a broad picture of what we can expect. Do not take anything like the location of the storm right now too seriously, as it can shift around quite significantly. And also, as we will show, there is some pretty big disagreement in terms of how much snow is even going to fall out of the storm in the first place. But yeah, so this is going into Saturday evening here. That's when the biggest snowfall is going to fall out of this next storm that's going to come. So going into this weekend, you can see that that's going to be moving off into Pennsylvania and New York during in Sunday here, going into Sunday morning. You can really see that snow starts to taper off as we get into Sunday evening as it makes its way into Maine. But yeah, I mean, definitely potential there for a lot of snowfall for some, depending on where this low pressure system sets up. If it sets up a little bit further to the south, we could have more snow down here near West Virginia and less snow up here to the north. If it goes up just like this, that main band of snow is going to be from Indiana into Ohio and then up into the northeast. And then if it goes even more to the south and gets more suppressed, might not really see too much snow out of this at all. But we'll have to see. We're getting into that period where the big shifts are going to start to minimize, and then we're start to get smaller shifts. But this is the GFS's view of what it thinks that the potential snowfall will be for this day. Again, take this with a grain of salt. As you can see, compared to the Euro, big differences here. But the GFS has a big strip here of about 5, 6, 7 inches of snow, and then going into Pennsylvania, that would be the hot spot there for the snow amounts. Up to a foot of snow is possible in some areas, and then over here going into Connecticut, also Massachusetts could potentially, with this scenario, get up into almost a foot and a half of snow there. So a big little strip here of 5, 6, up to 9 inches of snow, with some isolated spots getting up into those 10, maybe even a foot and a half of snow there for Massachusetts. Going over to the Euro, though, the Euro is a lot less bullish here. You can see over here in Indiana and Ohio, not a whole lot there in comparison to this. Indiana and Ohio could get 2 to 3, maybe even 4 inches. The Euro saying a dusting to an inch for most of Indiana and Ohio, with a little bit more there on the Ohio and West Virginia border, with around 3 to 4 inches there. And then as we get into West Virginia, going into Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, and then off into Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, you can see it's a lot less snow. Maybe 6, 7 inches widespread. I mean, it's still more than what you guys have gotten pretty much for this whole winter. But it's a lot less snow than the GFS here, and a little bit further to the south. So definitely keep that in mind. A lot's still going to change as we get closer to this event. Now, pushing our focus onto this next guy that's going to come in after this, you can see that this is that storm that moves. Or is this the one? Hold on, just gotta make sure. Just gotta double check. Okay. I always have to double check to make sure that I set it up correctly. But yeah, this is the next storm after that. So this is the even bigger storm. As you can see, it starts to move to the east here. Really, that low pressure starts down in the south, starts to move up to the north a little bit quicker than this one that's going to come through. That's going to come through this weekend. This one is going to be next week. The Monday, Tuesday time frame where we're talking about about that severe weather. So let's come over to here really quick and just talk about what we got here. So we do have a little 15% slight risk already, day 7. So confidence on this storm is going to be a little bit better than with the one that we're going to be dealing with this weekend. But as you can see, we got a 15% slight risk down here for Houston, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Mobile, going into Florida. This is going to change. It could go up a little bit more to the north, depending on if we can get a little bit more of a northerly trajectory, or a northerly advection of the warm sector with this storm. So we'll have to monitor it. But if you live in these areas, definitely you are in that. Hey, pay attention to the rest for forecasts for the foreseeable future for your areas to make sure you're prepared and you know what's going to be coming your way. But yeah, so that's going to start there in Texas. Let's see. Let's bring this back a little bit. That's going to start there in Texas at around Monday. Again, the timing is going to change with this as well. We're about 7 days out from this event, so a lot's going to change with this. But then we get what appears to be some crap vection out in front of it, which might limit the instability. That's going to be the main question with this storm: is are we going to have enough instability? Are we going to have enough a juice for this storm, enough fuel for these storms to become severe and maybe cause a little bit of a tornado potential as well? And then up on the northern side of this, on the shield of the storm, we do have a decent amount of snow extending from Iowa into Missouri, going up into the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes there, and then maybe a little bit extra snow for the Northeast, but also some rain on the backside of that too. But what happens with the snow is a huge question mark right now. So don't really take the snow part of this seriously. We're mainly going to be talking about the severe weather part, but there is definitely some snow potential there that we will be monitoring. Coming over to the fuel for the storms, as you can see, as this moves into Texas, we do have a decent amount of instability up into those 1,000 joule per kilogram there going into Monday. Let's bring this all the way back to Monday too, just so we can see how this lines up with where the precipitation is. So yeah, right there, you can see that it is the precipitation is outrunning it a little bit on the GFS, but it's kind of in the right area. Also, really messy out in front of it. So, potentially could have one of those crapvection type days, but just because there's a lot of crapvection there doesn't mean you're not going to get severe weather or tornadoes. So we're definitely going to monitor this. Comparing the fuel available for the storms on Monday at 6 p.m., the Euro is a little bit more closer to the shore here in terms of that instability, but enough. So we do have agreement here around in the same place already 7 days out for this storm of enough instability being available. And then as this storm moves off to the east, maybe could potentially see that tornado and severe risk move off to the east here. But again, we're really far out with this. A lot of this is going to change as we get closer. So take it with a grain of salt, but it does seem like that instability could ride the coast here and potentially cause some more severe weather as it goes into the future. The Euro's a little less bullish on that instability moving to the east, but again, this is one of those things that's going to figure itself out as we get closer to these storms. And then just a last little thing that we're going to be looking at here is a lower level jet. Here's to see if there's going to be any spin in the atmosphere. There's definitely going to be some pretty strong winds just above the surface here, and that is going to increase off to the east as this storm moves to the east. A little bit of a short wave trough maybe potentially forming out in front of this thing, might bring some more moisture as this moves into Florida. So it's definitely a storm to watch and to see how the models are going to keep up or change with these model runs. So going over to the Euro, checking out to see, plenty of shear there. As you get those yellows and reds and getting up into these grays and whites, that's a lot of lower level shear. So there's definitely going to be spin in the atmosphere. Big question though, again, is there going to be enough instability with this storm as it moves off to the east? But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this forecast. As you can see, we do have not just one. Actually, let's bring this all the way back. We don't just have one storm coming. We have another one that's going to be coming after that we're going to have to keep an eye on. So that's what we're going to be doing probably over the next couple of weeks. Again, with this storm over here, make sure you like the stream make sure you like the video and subscribe as we will be going live with this to give you guys up to date during while it's happening coverage. Could potentially have some storm chasers and a lot of webcams as that comes through. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video.